Hello, everyone. Let me get my situation going on here. How's everybody doing? It seems like it's been a long time since I've seen everybody, but I am here, and guess what? I am fired up and ready to go. Fired up and ready to go. Fired up and ready to go. I hope you all are ready to go too. I missed being here last week, but I hope you all enjoyed the interview, and maybe hopefully it was informative. But listen, I'm going to get some of this housekeeping stuff out of the way right quick, and then we're just going to jump into a conversation because believe me when I tell you, there is a need for you all who are listening to me to spread the word, because there are people out there in the real world, homeowners, who are being taken advantage of in such a way that it's just absolutely criminal. And I do mean that literally. It is criminal what's happening to people out there where solar is concerned. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for, you know, expecting me to be here every Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30. This podcast is all about solar energy. I, of course, am your host, Robin Fafmi, and my company is Solar Logics EDU. And what we are is a solar energy education company first and foremost. The goal is to educate as many homeowners as we possibly can. You know, it's one at a time or it's many at a time, because once we're in a position where we're growing our numbers with the views that we get here on the podcast, then we are going to start very soon in the spring having in-person education classes, because when you all come together and you can talk about your experiences with solar or not, if you haven't had any, or you know, you'll get to just learn so much more about what it's really all about. So Solar Logics EDU is a solar energy education company and sales organization. So what that means is that, you know, the primary goal is to educate you. And then if you decide and choose to transition your home energy use to solar, you know, you can buy it from me. It's like a one-stop shop. I can help with that. But first of all is the education. You have got to get a foundation of understanding when it comes to this, because you know, if you get yourself in a situation and you can't get out of it, then it can be really, really sticky and tricky. So you can reach me at 214-497-7440. I will answer the phone. Hopefully somebody will give us a call tonight and just interact. And if you do call tonight, I will answer the phone and you will be a live caller. If you call while I am on the air, I will answer the phone and I will speak with you, but just know that you're going to be live. Now, I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, namely DeSoto, Texas is where my company is founded at. But so far as education is concerned, we can go anywhere. We can go all over the state of Texas. If you live in another state and you want me to bring me in to speak about solar, we can do that. But so far as when I sell solar and install solar, that basically is in Texas. And right now it is the, you know, Dallas Fort Worth Southwest region type portion of Texas, because I am not an installer. I don't install solar. I sell it, but I do not install it, which means that I partner with installation companies, and I take my job to them and they install. But here is what I do also: I stay connected to the job, which means that when you see me at these education classes and we talk about solar, and then you want to buy solar, you purchase it from me, and I don't leave you. I don't leave you hanging. I am always there throughout the entire aspect of the process. I will not let your hands go because there's just so much that you have to know. And I really, really, really mean that. I'm starting to really understand that harm, actual financial harm, is being done to people when it comes to solar. And part of the reason for that is it's like the wild, wild west out here. Anybody can start up a solar company, a solar sales company. Sometimes when a solar sales company starts up, um, they will have everything in house. You'll have the sales reps who are in house. You will have the installers who are in house. You will have the monitoring aspect of the service, which is also in house. So this is like a complete company that is probably doing one of the better jobs that's out there. Or you can have someone who decides that they just want to sell solar, and all they have to do is start a company, whether they get an LLC or not, whether they register with the state or not. They don't necessarily have to do that, but most of us do. I am an LLC, a limited liability company. So, but anybody can start a company, but not anybody can install that solar on your roof because, well, I take that back. That's kind of a two-pronged situation. The industry itself is not a regulated industry, but what happens is inside of the industry, the person or the company has to have a master electrician on board. That master electrician, his license is registered with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations. So, because when you put the solar on your rooftop, keep in mind that it's all electrical. You're connecting electrical components. And so, because of that, a master electrician is required. Excuse me. So that company, if the company, or the installation company, I should say, they have to have a master electrician as a part of their organization. Now, that doesn't mean that the master electrician is the person who installs all of the systems. He couldn't do that. So they sometimes will have journeymen and other electricians who just don't have a master license. So the company operates under the license of this master electrician, and that's how they go and they do the work. But you don't necessarily have to have a license to start a business within the solar energy industry. That's real important. So what would you think if somebody knocked on your door and they qualified you for solar and you think it's a good idea? And so now you say, okay. And when you say, okay, they take you through the process of checking your credit with the financial institution. They check your credit. If your credit checks out, then they let you know how much you're qualified for, whatever, and hopefully you're qualified for enough to purchase the system that you're wanting to buy, because they're not cheap. Don't even think for a minute that they are, because they are not. So now you're qualified, but the person who's selling you decides to check with another financial institution. In other words, you gave him your information, he filled it out on his tablet, and he submitted it to the first company. You were aware of that. Then he got the information back, said, congratulations, you have been pre-qualified, okay, pre-qualified for $50,000. And so we're going to sell you a system now. You have enough money to cover it. But what if that same salesperson took all of your information and put it in and submitted it to another financial institution? Now, that financial institution sends a response back and says, congratulations, you are approved or pre-qualified for $70,000. But you didn't know that he did that. He had your information from the first go round, and he just decided on his own to input your information to this other company. And now you're pre-qualified for $70,000. He goes through the whole spiel, and then it's time for you to sign the contract. You sign the contract and you see 70,000, and you're asking him, well, how did we go from 50,000 to 70,000? His answer is, well, it must be the dealer fees, all the finance charges and things like that. So you have a question in your mind about, how did this really happen? And lo and behold, you find out later that he actually switched you to another finance company while he was right there in your home, and you had no idea that that had happened. That's a problem, but it's a problem that is going to be difficult to get yourself out of, because the finance company has no idea of what he did. They don't know that he switched you. So now, you got to go through a bunch of processes to attempt to get yourself out of this trouble, because the finance companies, they don't really want to come and get the panels or cancel the contract, because now the installer has to agree with you regarding the problem. What if he doesn't? So you have to have a way to prove your case, and then you have to figure out possibly some other avenue for getting out. So I told you that story because it's a real story. It's a true story. And it's one that I'm actually dealing with now, helping this particular homeowner to work through this problem and correct it. That's the outcome that we're expecting, is that the finance company will just come and get these panels, because once your credit is approved, the installer will start to do the work. And in some cases, the finance company will pay them in full as soon as they say that the job is complete. You know how when you hire a contractor to come to your house and do work, you may give him, make the payments in 3 installments, like when he comes initially, you'll give him money and he'll go and get materials and do whatever he does. It's like earnest money to get started with the job. Then that contractor will get to another point in the job and it's time for what they call a draw. They'll need more money for something else. And then when they finish the job, you pay them. But when you sign that contract with the finance company, they pay the installer. In most cases, they pay them in full without requiring any type of proof that the work has been completed. Okay? They don't know if it's complete. It's like they agree to lend you money for this project. They call solar installations a home improvement project. So the finance company loans you this money and they pay it out with no requirements as to whether or not the job is complete. So they have paid money on your behalf, and you have no say about when they pay this money. And then later on, you find out that you did not get your money's worth. And when you go back to question the finance company about, they didn't complete the job, you paid them on my behalf. Don't you have some responsibility for taking care of my money? Now, you would think that they do. And by law and ethics, they really do have what they call a fiduciary responsibility to handle your money in good faith, because it's a loan that you signed for, okay? And you're responsible for paying that back. And since you're responsible, they have a responsibility, I believe, and what I've studied and read, I believe they do. But if they are not forced to be ethical, then in most cases it's just a game. It's like the shell game. You move money here, there, and yonder, and everybody gets paid except you end up holding the bag. The homeowner is the one who ends up holding the bag. But listen to this. You've got kind of a five-pronged situation. And we talked about this before. You've got the federal government that is giving a 30% tax credit. Okay? That is an incentive for companies that sell solar to knock on your door or call you, because they're going to lead with that. And they do that to get you interested. They want to perk your interest or pique your interest. Okay, so now the government is going to give me a 30% tax credit. And what that means is that whatever your system costs, if your system costs $20,000, 30% of that is going to be a federal tax credit that will just be sitting there waiting for you to use it. Okay, so that's an incentive for the solar companies or solar sales companies, sales representatives, to come out, knock on your door, or give you a phone call and schedule an appointment to come over and talk about solar. Okay, so they're going to talk to you, and then you're going to say, okay, I want solar. Now, the salesperson is out of the way, and the next person that we have is the finance company. Because while the sales rep is in your home and you're feeling pretty good about this whole situation and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, they will get the finance company, on the phone right then and there. They'll start an email chain, and you'll fill out your information on a tablet or computer, and the finance company will check you out, and they will either deny your credit or approve it. If they approve the credit, then they will send you a contract through email, and you'll sign off on that. Now the finance company is there, okay? Then the installer is going to come out to your home, and now he's going to place these panels on your roof. When he does that, he gets paid, and you now have a bill. Okay. I'm not trying to talk anybody out of getting solar. What did we say my job is? My job is to educate you. Okay. I want you as the homeowner to be smarter about this whole process, so that when you choose, and that is the operative word, when you, the homeowner, when you choose to transition your home energy use to solar, you won't be taken advantage of. You understand exactly what's going on. So now everybody makes money. Now you make money because the idea of solar is to help you lower your electricity bill. So you've got solar on your house, you've got this payment that you're making to the finance company. Let's just say you're making $190 payment for your panels every month. You make that's a new bill that you have. But if the system has been sized properly, then it should generate um, the same amount of energy that you're using in your home now. It should generate that and a little more. So your system really should be producing more energy than you actually need. And then that excess energy gets sent back to the grid. And for all the energy that you don't use, there's a possibility that you'll get a credit for that. And then that credit should cover your bill. So in that case, it's a bill swap. Okay. So that's how you make your money, because now you may have either a zero electricity bill or a very low electricity bill. So let's just say if your bill is $150 that you're paying for your panels, and maybe you're getting let's just say a $50 bill, you're still getting a $50 electricity bill. So now that means that your electricity for the month is $200. Whereas if you didn't have solar, then your bill may be $250 or $292. And in those colder summer months, I mean colder winter months, and the hotter summer months, maybe 2 months in the winter, 2 months in the summer, you've got excessively high bills. So the solar should help you with that. That potentially is where your savings come in, because the only reason that you're talking to them or you're talking to anybody about solar is because your electricity bill is high and you want to lower that bill. But the reason I'm pounding this point is because I am starting to work with people. They are finding me. Some because I'm here every Thursday, and maybe your mom or a friend of yours, hear me talking about solar. And if someone in the community has a problem, they're saying, give this lady a call. Robin, FAF me. Her number is 214-497-7440. And we try and work it out. But there are all kinds of problems. Like right now, I have one situation. Solar is on this lady's roof. Okay. Been there since September. It is not operating at all. They did not run any electricity. No electrical boxes, no nothing. Okay? It's just there. But she's paying the finance company. She's still paying her electricity bill every month, and she has nothing because the person that's excuse me, the person that sold her the solar panels was a predator. Okay. So you got to be aware of these people. And my job is to educate you so that when you get the phone calls and the knocks on your doors, you know what to do. So let's talk about perhaps what you can do. So someone knocks on your door. They're canvassing the neighborhood, talking to anybody who will open the door. They're talking to them about solar, and they are wanting to schedule an appointment or come in and talk to you right now. So when they get in, they start talking about solar. You may have some questions, but your limited knowledge limits the depth of the questions that you can ask them. The first thing I want you to do is if they're canvassing the neighborhood and they knock on your door, I want you to ask them, do you have a permit from the city, whatever city you live in? Do you have a permit from the city to be knocking on doors and soliciting for solar? Do you have that permit? Permits are required by most cities. However, door-to-door salespeople usually do not have a permit. So check that out. If they don't have a permit and you still want to talk to them because you want to know about solar, then that's a choice that you get to make. And if you want to talk to them, then have a conversation. But before the conversation commences, ask them for their ID, personal ID, and also ask them for company ID. See if they match. When you ask for company ID, get some information. Where's the company located? How long has the company been in business? How many systems has this company actually installed? Because what did I say? The master electrician who is on the paperwork for the company is not the person who's out there installing for the company. Sometimes these are just people who are learning how to do this. Maybe they're working with someone who knows and they need the help. So now they have people that really know nothing, but they're learning as they go. That's important. So ask questions about the company. So now, if you're satisfied with that information, also ask if there are any references. Can they refer you to somebody who they have done work for that can talk to you about their work ethics? What are their people like? Do they come on time? Do they take long breaks? Whatever you want to know, ask those questions because it's important and it could save you down the line. So now you're having the conversation full-fledged. You believe you know enough to make a decision, and now you're going to go solar. Okay, that's fine. But I am begging you, literally begging you. It's fine that you want to go solar. It is fine. that you're ready to sign the contract with this company, but please don't do it. Do not sign a contract the same day that they come to your house. Ask for a copy of the contract and take your time and read that contract before you are even approved for credit. Because once you are approved for credit, then you only have 3 days to cancel. So if you sign on the dotted line tonight at 8 o'clock, then you have 3 days from today at 8 o'clock up until midnight to let them know that you want to cancel. If you want to cancel, then there is something that should be contained within that contract that says 3-day notice of right to cancel. So you should have that. So what I'm asking you to do is please, please, please do not sign a contract the same day. Talk about it, understand it, agree with it, and then ask them for a copy of their contract. This is the installer's contract. Ask for a copy of their contract and tell them you want to study through the contract, and they can come back 1 day or 2 days later, or you can call them and say, hey, I've changed my mind about solar, but there is so much in the contract that you just won't be aware of if you don't take the time to read it prior to, because this way you're not pressured at all. So that's real important. That's real important. Then if you do that and everything works out and you're going for it, and now installation day is here, the trucks roll up to your house, or however they deliver. The trucks roll up to your house, the crew is there, and they're ready to go to work. But here's another thing. Before they get on your roof, ask to see the permit. A lot of solar companies do not have permits for the work. They're supposed to, but what I'm finding is that solar installation companies are installing solar on the roof with no permit, okay, from the city. They have no permit, okay? Now, I'm finding that they will go back later and get a permit just for their records. But if you were to match your information, you will discover that they pulled the permit, or the permit was issued after your system was installed. So that's important, because that's a part of the pitch. Oh, you don't have to do anything. We'll do everything for you. We'll get all the necessary permits. We'll talk to your HOA. Any and everything that has to be done, we will do it for you. Okay, that's good and that's fine. But how do you know? How do you know that they did it? You've got to ask questions. You have to. Because again, my job is to make you smarter. Listen, there are, and I let me just say this. When I first started in this solar business 3 years ago, it was because I have solar on my home. The young lady that sold us the solar, 95% of everything that she said was absolutely wonderful. We understood it. We had talked with other people, and we settled on her. And that was fine. 5% of the experience was not great. She told us something that wasn't true. And once I got to the bottom of it, the company didn't want to do anything to fix the problem. And the problem was simply that I was dissatisfied because they were unethical. And I challenged them on something that they told me, and it turned into a mess. That's just the only way to say it. It turned into a mess. And at that point, I understood that homeowners, you, me, homeowners, the elderly, needed an advocate out here to help them understand what solar is, what it isn't. Am I a good candidate? Is my house, is my roof, is it a good candidate? Because not every roof is right for solar. And you wouldn't know. How would you know that your roof is not good? Well, some things are common that will help you to understand. Like if you've got a bunch of trees covering your rooftop, then how is the sun going to get through that and reach those panels to charge them up and have them do what they need to do? That's kind of hard. So that's why I'm out here selling solar. So initially, I wanted to come out, sell solar, make some money. Of course, I'm not going to lie about that. I wanted to make money because it's good money. But for me, for me, you know, I am being moved in a different direction. And that direction is to help homeowners understand this because too many people are getting caught up and having too many problems, and they don't know how to recreate the details and back themselves out of it. So here am I. This is what I do now. And so I'm never saying don't get solar. I'm saying become smart about solar. So if you're listening and you have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and put it there in the comment section or whatever. But we are live every Thursday, 6:30 to 7:30 on Facebook, on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Be Humble, Stay Humble Network. That's where you can hear us. And I would love to read your comments. And I want to thank you all for your comments because I hardly ever get comments while we're on the air. And of course, I do want to change that. So somebody give me a comment and let me know you're out there because I know you are. But once the broadcast is finished, people are going back and they're listening and they write comments. And sometimes I will bring the answer. I will bring those comments and the answer to the next show. So that's real important. And I appreciate it because I'm growing. I'm learning how to be in this space. And it is a space that has been created for me. So I intend to do the absolute best work that I can do to help people. Now, let's talk about our senior parents, aunts, uncles, anybody. I'm a senior now myself. Let's just be truthful. But our elderly parents are being preyed upon by people who are selling solar. And, they get just enough information to commit fraud. And what I mean by that, they will come to the homes of our elderly parents, family, and friends, and they will say, "Ma'am, have you heard? Have you heard that the government is giving away solar panels to senior citizens?" That's a real thing that's going on now. And so, of course, mom, dad, grandma, Auntie, they'll say, no, I hadn't heard a thing about that. Yes, ma'am. The government is giving solar panel systems to senior citizens, and you don't have to pay anything. It's absolutely free. Okay. Then they will tell our parents, family, or friends. So, what it's going to do is lower your electricity bill. You won't have a high electricity bill anymore, or maybe you won't have a bill at all. And it's free, and the government is paying for it. Would you like to have solar on your house if government is paying for it? Okay. They make it sound like government cheese or something. I mean, some of you may not be old enough to remember when that was a thing and we lined up. And I'm not saying you individually, but that was just a program that the government ran. And so they're making them believe. And these people are old enough to remember when the government gave things away to people in need and to elderly people. So they say, okay. Then they get enough information, they put it in to the lender, they get that approved, and get this, the salesperson is actually signing the contract. Our moms and dads and aunts and uncles, they're not signing. Have a situation right now. This is exactly what happened. The government is giving away panels. Do you want it? Yes, but she did not sign the contract. They gave a false security number, but the last four are correct because usually when people call you, they identify your number by the last four. So they make sure that the last four numbers are correct. Then what they did was they gave the right bank that grandma, grandpa, auntie banks at, but the wrong account number. So now the lending institution is stuck with a loan that's not true. And they're trying to make grandma pay for it, but they had the wrong email address, the wrong banking account number, but the right bank. They had the last four of the social correct, but it wasn't her signature and all of that. So now they're harassing her, trying to get payment for something that she did not do. So pay attention to your parents, to the older people, and check with them and find out who's been knocking on their door because this is a real thing. And, it's not just the elderly people that they're getting over on. It's everybody. It's everybody. I've heard of situations where there's this one customer, he's an engineer, an electrical engineer at that. He had solar panels put on his house, and you know, the guys got up there and did a lot of damage. But it's the company that is doing the harm and the damage. So I'm saying you can be rich, you can be poor, you can be in the middle. They're getting everybody because solar energy is being advertised and presented as the next best thing. The pain point is that people, not everybody, but a lot of people have electricity bills that are high. And they're tired and they don't want to pay, high electricity bills every month. I mean, we're talking about bills that are 3, 4, $500 every month. But Electricity is a necessity. That's one of the things that you have to have. So you can't get out of it. You're either going to continue paying it, price per kilowatt is going to keep going up, or you're going to get solar and try to mitigate that bill or whatever. But you have to have it. And one way or the other, you're going to have to figure out how to get it in a way that it doesn't hurt. Okay. That's the pain for people. Now, how do we get out of that? Solar may be the way, but it may not be the only way. What if you would have an energy analysis done before you even go to solar? Sometimes you can weatherize your home. You can seal windows and doors, and you can add additional installation in your attic, radiant barrier. There are a few things that you can do. Why not do that first and see how that changes your bill or not? And then if it doesn't, then let's go solar. Let's solar up. I'm all for it. Let's solar up. But when you do, call me. Okay? Robin Fafme, 214-497-7440. Okay? SolarLogics.edu.com. You can go to my website and take a look. We are there. So I'm all for it. Let's solar up, but let's do it in a smart way. Okay? That's all I'm asking, is that you become smarter. Everything is smart. Your phones are smart. Your cars are smart. Your electrical meters on your house, they are smart. Your doorbells are smart. Your TVs are smart. Everything is smart. So why don't you become smarter about solar energy? So what we do in these educational classes is we deliver value for you as we teach you how to correctly interpret information about solar energy. So now, when you get the knock on the door or you get the phone call asking you about solar, you can have an intelligent conversation. They can ask you questions and you can ask them questions, because you now know the questions to ask. You know why you're asking the questions. You know what the outcome you want is. That outcome should be your electric bill is either eliminated completely, means you get a $0 bill every month, or extremely low. Okay. And you now understand what kilowatts are, how they're charging you. You know, you've got solar on your roof, you're with an electric company that gives you a dollar for dollar buyback plan, which means that if you pay 10 cents per kilowatt for your energy, then they will buy it back at 10 cents per kilowatt. So that balances out your energy use. But what have you heard me say before? This is a pop quiz. What have you heard me say before? Excuse me. And that is solar is energy. So when we talk about solar, we're talking about your energy use. There is a possibility that you will produce enough energy to cover your entire bill, because your bill is not just how many kilowatts you use. It also consists of a base charge, a delivery charge from Encore or whoever your energy delivery system is. Mine is Encore. So you have base charge for being connected with the energy company. Then you have delivery charges, you have taxes, and maybe there are a couple of other things that you have. That portion of the bill may or may not be covered by your um, overage, the overproduction of your energy. It may and it may not. It just depends on what company you're with. So now you need to be smarter so you know how to choose an energy company. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. But that's why I am here, is to talk about solar, and I'm going to keep showing up and keep figuring it out. You all can look for me to be out in the communities come springtime. Right now, I am working on my programs and working on getting sponsors to sponsor these classes so that I can come into your communities and I can be there in a real visible, branded way so that, you will have access to everything that you need information wise to be able to know how to talk to these reps when they knock on your door or when they call you on the phone. That's very important. So my whole mindset has shifted because I am a solar energy education advocate. That's what I am, and that's what I am doing here. So I know that you all are listening. Please help me grow. I am asking you to please help me grow. So you may start to see some advertisement on some of the social medias as soon as I figure out how to do all of that, to let people know that I'm here. And I want you to be safe. And I don't want you to encounter financial harm. Now, here's another thing. When I say I want you to be safe, I saw a situation today where a lady has solar on her home. Went up top, took a look, and there's some problems. Okay, there are some problems, and they are problems that could be detrimental. We don't know, but they need to be corrected. And what if something were to happen to your home and you would have no idea that it should be traced back to solar, to the system that's on your home? So this is why I'm here, to help you understand how it all works. So let's solar up. That's my new thing. Fire it up, ready to go. Fire it up and ready to go. Fire it up and ready to go. So the next phase of that is solar up, let's go. Solar up, let's go. Solar up, let's go. All righty. So it is just about my time. And I don't have a whole lot more to say right now, except thank you. That's the biggest thing. I am so happy and so grateful that I have an opportunity to be here every week for an hour. And I know that sooner rather than later, my voice is going to land in the right places. People will hear and people will show up in spaces to learn about solar energy. So, with that said, just remember to share my name, Robin Fafme, Solar Logics EDU, Solar energy education is what we do. 214-497-7440. You can call me anytime to talk about solar, and we will get you on the right track, or do whatever we need to do. I need your help, and I need you to show up. So, with that, I don't have anything else, and I'm just going to bid you good night. And thank you for being here. Tell 5 people next Thursday, you be here with 5 additional people, and we can get this work started. It's already started, but we can get it done. With your help, we can get it done, because what I know is that it's because of people like you that people like me can do what I do. We can advocate for you and serve the communities. And that's me. All right. See y'all later. Fired up, ready to go. All right. Bye bye.